My name is Craig Lawson. I'm 48 and I build things for a living. For 22 years, I thought I'd built a solid marriage with my wife, Diane. I thought we were permanent. I was wrong. It all started to unravel at her company's Christmas party. Diane was ambitious. She'd climbed the corporate ladder, and that night, she moved through the room like she owned it. That's when I saw him, Kenneth Hartley, her boss. The way he leaned in when he spoke to her, the way she laughed a little too brightly, her hand resting on his arm just a second too long. My gut knew before my head did. I didn't say anything. I just watched. A week later, I came home early and heard her on the phone upstairs, her voice soft. "Thursday works perfectly," she whispered. "He'll be at the job site until at least 7. That was it. That was the moment I knew for sure. So on that Thursday I left work early. I parked across the street from her office and waited. At 4:15 she walked out with Kenneth right beside her, his hand resting on the small of her back. I followed them. They drove out of the city to a cheap motel near Ann Arbor. I sat in my truck and watched my wife, the mother of my children, walk into that building with another man. I took pictures. I saw them through the window, laughing, his hand on her shoulder. I didn't storm and I didn't smash the door down. I drove home, sat down at the dinner table with my kids, and asked them about their day, pretending my world hadn't just been torn apart. That night I made a choice. Confrontation would lead to tears, lies, and promises she couldn't keep. It would lead to years of bitter court battles, dragging our kids through the mud. I wasn't going to play that game, so I decided to disappear. Over the next 2 weeks, I systematically dismantled my life. I found a new job in Knoxville, Tennessee. I rented a small apartment and opened a new bank account. Piece by piece, I moved my things out of the house we'd built together. The hardest part was saying goodbye to my son, Connor. He was smart. He knew something was wrong. The morning I left, he found me at the kitchen table. "You're leaving, aren't you?" he asked. I didn't lie to him. I told him I wasn't leaving him, I was leaving her. I gave him a burner phone with my number and told him to call me when he turned 18. Then I walked out the door and never looked back. When Diane finally came home, the house was half empty. My tools were gone, my closet was cleared out, and my phone was dead. She panicked. She called everyone, my parents, my job, our friends. She filed a missing person report, even hired a private investigator. For 7 months, she searched, but I was a ghost. I didn't answer. I just worked, I slept, and I started to rebuild myself from the ground up. Then, one Saturday in October, there was a knock on my door. It was Diane. She looked smaller, tired, and broken. "I ended it," she cried. "I quit my job. Please, just talk to me." I told her everything, that I followed her to the motel, that Connor knew the truth, that our daughter was crying herself to sleep at night. She just collapsed right there on my doorstep. I didn't comfort her. I handed her an envelope. Inside was a single photograph of her and Kenneth outside the motel and my wedding ring. "The divorce papers are coming," I told her. "You can keep the house. I just want joint custody of Hannah." She begged and pleaded, but I was done. Love doesn't look like lies, and self-respect doesn't beg for scraps. I watched her walk away, and then I closed the door. The divorce was final 3 months later. Kenneth lost his job, and his own marriage fell apart. When Connor turned 18, he came to visit me. Hannah followed during her spring break. We started rebuilding our relationship, slowly and honestly. I stayed in Tennessee. I didn't run from my past. I simply chose a future of peace. And when she finally found me, I wasn't angry anymore. I was already gone. Thanks for listening.